And we do have storms moving through right now. We have our first severe thunderstorm warning of the day right here in Navarro County. Now, these are warned, these storms here, that storm, if you see that just south of the Cana in Corsicana there, that one is warned for the potential for large hail at this point. Winds look to be below severe limits, but obviously off to the west, of course, this is what's kind of catching everybody's eye, is this large line moving in from the west. And that will be a factor in our weather today, obviously. If I can get my cart, I have to move this thing around. I've got two cats and a dog in here that when the thunder starts, they want to be where somebody is up and watching things. So you can see the line moving east, but this line is weakening as it was expected to do. And then now we have this storm that is making its way to the north, really more northeast now. What we're eventually probably going to see as this line will continue to weaken, and then eventually we will have a new line form off to the east, and that will cruise on into East Texas. Now, the good news is this is all kind of moving through early in the day here. You can see that these storms, even these appear to be weakening a little bit. So as those lift northward, this line continues to move to the east. All of this will eventually come together and continue to progress to the east. The higher severe weather threat is south of us right now. That's where the warm front has continued to move northward, and that will stay south of our area as all of this moves eastward. So we are not really looking at much of a tornado threat in our area. We could have some gusty winds, some hail, as we have talked about, but for the most part, we're in pretty good shape in terms of what to expect in our area over the next few hours here. So this storm, or this line of storms here, still going to be lightning and thunder, going to be some heavy rain. We have some flash flood warnings here extending from parts of Johnson County up into Tarrant County there. And then, of course, the severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Navarro County. We also have the flood watch that goes pretty much into early tomorrow morning. And then we have, let's see, I just saw, there was a squirrel that was like skipping through the water. That was funny. Squirrel, you know. So we have the flood watch that goes until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then we have the severe thunderstorm watch that continues until 4 o'clock today. But the thing is, that doesn't mean specifically that that whole watch will continue, or that the severe weather threat will continue here until 4 o'clock. They will shave that eastward as this line progresses. And that just means that basically on the far end of basically the east end of that watch, it will be probably there by about 4 o'clock. That's kind of how you can read those things. So I'm getting some reports here, torrential downpour in Ferris right now with this storm, and then hearing there's a lot of lightning in Fort Worth at the VA hospital there. So yes, you can see plenty of lightning, but again, this line is weakening as it moves eastward because we are in this period of transition here where this line will continue to weaken and a new line will form ahead of it, and that will continue on into East Texas. If we kind of broaden this out a little bit, this line goes quite a ways. So farther south, south of Waco here, pretty much south of Waco on over towards Nacogdoches, that's going to be your largest or your greatest risk for a few possible tornadoes as we go through the rest of the day. You can see the line is farther to the west there, so a lot of ground to cover as they begin warming up this afternoon. For our area, it's moving through fairly quickly. We do have some rain, maybe some thunder behind that main line, but all of this should be out of here by 1, 2 o'clock here, which again is good because that will get it out of our area to clear things up before we get into peak heating, commute time, home from school and work, those kind of things. So let's just go ahead and get that thing out of here by that time, and then that will make it much easier for us to go through the rest of our day. Looking ahead in the forecast here, we have a low chance of maybe a few evening storms tomorrow night. Really, it looks very isolated. Maybe a few more Thursday and Friday, but then we get into a nice weekend, and next week actually looks nice. So we have a break that's coming, but we do have to get through today's widespread rain and a couple of lower chances of showers and thunderstorms as we go forward from there. So heavy rain in Alvarado right now. So as this line goes through, there's still plenty of heavy rain that is to come down. And here at the studio, looks nice and pretty bright for the moment, but we do have that line. We're kind of in between the initial line of storms here. And you remember yesterday that the HR model kind of predicted that there would be this little kind of line developing, only now it's farther to the east than it was predicted last night. So the models were actually quite right. It's just everything kind of got here early and shifted a bit eastward as we went on through. So this severe thunderstorm warning, that continues until 11:15 a.m. So about another half hour now before that expires, and that storm will continue to move on to the northeast. And Carranza, you're asking what time for Kaufman. Well, I mean, you can, if you look at the map, you can see the storm is just about there. So, I mean, you'll be getting that heavy rain in the next, 10 to 20 minutes here as these storms continue on to the northeast. So another severe thunderstorm warning up in parts of Dallas, Rockwall, and Collin counties there as well. And a quick note from the National Weather Service here. Okay. Yeah, so National Weather Service making a note. Now, this is south of our area. This is south of Corsicana from about, looks like from about Waco to Mejia to Palestine south. That area, the tornado risk is increasing, and that will run through about 4 o'clock today. So just to kind of give you the kind of heads up there, if you are in those areas, this is again south of Waco, south of Mejia, south of Fairfield, south of Palestine there, really that line southward. That is where we will be looking at the primary risk for some tornadoes between now and 4 o'clock. And that's an update from the National Weather Service. We'll take a look and see, because I see the question up there, and that's kind of our next stop, is the vertically integrated liquid here. Now, what we'll see is that south of Corsicana, we talked about these storms weakening. South of Corsicana, that's going to be your hail core. And we had some gray generally on this map. When you start getting into the gray, that's when you see the more severe hail there. Now, just south of Corsicana, you can see that there's still probably some hail falling here. May not be severe at this point, but it does look like there is at least some hail in that storm. So this severe thunderstorm warning may not necessarily be warranted at this point. We'll take a look at the winds as well. Looks like we are looking at some gusty winds south of Corsicana towards Oak Valley. That will continue to move on to the northeast. So I would say that this storm is, if anything, it is marginally severe at this time. I'm not expecting, there's that update, I'm not expecting too much in terms of severe weather from this storm. It looks like it's already, like I say, beginning to wind down a little bit. But that storm does continue that severe warning until 11:15. Jesse Hernandez asking how Venus is doing. Well, I mean, Venus is, as you can see on that map, Venus is getting the heavy rain and the gusty winds right now from that main line, but that is not severe weather at this point. So you mentioned that your fur baby is at home alone, so they're fine. It's noisy out there, but that's about the only issue they have there. New flash flood warning just issued for parts of Ellis County up into parts of Dallas and Rockwall counties right now, and Collin County as well. So they're pretty much giving anyone along this line, really from Cleveland and Waxahachie northward, is getting a flash flood warning for this line, not only because we've had rain already this morning, but there is a lot of heavy rain falling in this line, and there's more rain behind it. So that is the situation right now. There is your flash flood warning from about Forreston on north into the rest of northern Ellis County, really from the county line to county line here as far as east and west, from Forreston on up into the rest of northern Ellis County, Dallas County, Rockwall, and Collin counties as well. So that's the landscape that we're looking at. This main line continues to push eastward. We'll put this back into motion for you. That line continues to push eastward, just starting to make its way into Ellis County. So moving into Venus right now, very soon moving into Midlothian and Maypearl, and we'll continue on to the east from there. A comment that it's very loud in Burleson, loud in Corsicana. Yeah, these storms are making a lot of noise today. They will make sure that you are aware that they are there. We do have the potential, again, for some hail and heavy rain. At this point, gusty winds as well. But at this point, that storm in the Corsicana area doesn't look it doesn't really look like it's too terribly intense at this point. And this storm, I see the question there, moving northeast about 35 miles per hour. That's going to be about the speed for these storms. So that's not really too fast or too slow. That's about where we are with those conditions. And Brittany Wright is the hail core near Richland Chambers Reservoir. Looks like it's north of there at this point. So it's moving more into the Corsicana area now, and then that will continue to move northward. So that's going to be north of Richland Chambers there in Navarro County. Pea-sized hail reported in Burleson about an hour ago. And then, Kimmy, storms in Arlington. As we broaden the map here, very clear where those storms are for sure. And Josh, you're asking when can we expect them to move out? Essentially through the afternoon. So 2 o'clock, I'm expecting to see us drying out here. Obviously, the main line will be through most of our area before then, but there is some rain on the back side of that. So overall, by 2 o'clock, I think definitely by the time it's time to pick up the kids from school, we should be drying out. We should be clearing out here. And then most of tomorrow looks nice. Tomorrow evening, possibly a storm or two, but that should be, at this point, this is going to move out the highest risk of rain we have in the 7-day forecast. After that, we get a break for a while. Kimmy, you're asking, are we going to have a tornado threat in DFW? That's what we were talking about a short time ago, where we had that increasing tornado threat south of our area, from about Waco to Fairfield to Palestine south. So that is going to be south of our area here. That does not include our particular area. Lots of questions coming in. Let me catch up here. What does it look like for Hillsborough? Well, Regan, if you look at the map here, you can see that Hillsborough has that line of storms coming in. Not severe at this time. Could be some gusty winds, heavy rain, lots of lightning and thunder. Pam Bauer, will there be wind after this passes? No, this is not a situation like we saw earlier this year where, we had a line of storms come in and then it was just crazy windy for 3 days. We do not have crazy, gusty, dusty winds coming in from West Texas behind this line. So not quite that scenario. Mary Jane asking, do I see hail any time in the next 3 hours for Waxahachie? That's very specific. So we could have some small hail in this line as that moves through over the next hour. Jamie, can we just leave this radar running even when you're done talking? That's helpful. I'll try to do that. Obviously, I may be zooming in and out of certain spaces, but we can do that. Hang on just a second. I'm getting a lot of notifications here. Just trying to make sure I'm staying on top of everything. Let's see. Yeah, no large hail reports at this point for our particular area. There is some pea-sized hail that's been reported in that line. We had radar indications of some hail in Navarro County earlier. That prompted that warning. But at this point, there doesn't look like there's large hail at this time. But Brian, or Mary rather, to answer your question, we could have some small hail in this line, but no hail after that. So I would say any hail threat for Waxahachie is probably going to be done by noon or so. Uh, Sandra, is Johnson County under tornado watch? No, tornado watch has never been issued for this area. We're under a severe thunderstorm watch, as well as a flood watch and a flash flood warning, but no tornado watch for our area. Nikki Farmer, as far as Mansfield is concerned, if you're in Mansfield, you're seeing it. I mean, you can see it on the map as well. We have that line moving through. So that main line is moving through. You're getting the gusty winds, the heavy rain, possibly some small hail with that, but that's going to be about it. And Katie asking, anybody else just get the Ellis County emergency call with no message? I don't think I'm set up for calls there. We of course use Weather Call here in here at South Metro Weather. Of course, that's something that I work with and have endorsed as well. But no, I haven't heard anything about an emergency Ellis County emergency management call. If anything, they probably were alerting for the flash flood warning. Maybe there was just a malfunction there or something. But if you are interested in those calls, if you're interested in getting one personalized to myself, to South Metro Weather, you can sign up for Weather Call. We do have that information available for you. And let's see. Kay, you're asking, is the Corsicana storm headed towards Canton? It looked like, yeah, I mean, you've got this storm headed that way. So moving through Gun Barrel City and then eventually moving on towards the Canton area. So that one could be capable of producing some large hail by the time it moves into that area if it intensifies. Lauren, when is this expected to be done? That's what we were saying earlier. This is going to be wrapped up probably by, I would say, by 2 or 3 o'clock. We'll have some rain behind this line, but by 2 or 3 o'clock we should be clearing that out of here. Crystal, that yellow line, that is a severe thunderstorm warning that runs until 11:15, so about another 20 minutes or so from now. That particular storm looks like it could be intensifying. Again, that's one of those storms that kind of ebbs and flows, right? It intensifies, then it weakens, then it kind of goes up and down. So it could be intensifying here for just a little bit. Okay, so sounds like the emergency management message was for the flash flood warning. That's what I thought. I don't know. There might have been 1 or 2 of those that didn't quite make it. Angie, looking at the radar, it looks like Waxahachie is saying, no storms, you can touch me. You can't. I'm not sure what you're saying there, but Dawn, where do I sign up for calls? Let's get that link posted here. Let me see. Okay, so there's the link for Weather Call, just posted across the chat platforms here. So that is a link you can sign up for the calls from myself. If you want to sign up for those exclusively from emergency management in Ellis County, you can do that on the county website. But to pay just $15 a year for those warnings from myself. You get those if there's a tornado warning, a severe thunderstorm warning, that kind of thing, and it's specific to your address. So Angie, looking at the radar, it looks like radar is saying can't touch me. Well, I mean, the storms are definitely headed to Waxahachie. And Islamar Avalon area, all of us will be getting this line that's going to move through. Let me make that clear. This will move through our entire area, and then we do still have this area. Some new showers that have popped up here in McLennan County that will move northward. Let's see. Jamie, the next chain calls are the only accurate and timely things I'm getting across all platforms. I appreciate the positive enforcement there. And Hunter, any red for Hatchie later? I mean, that line is pretty undeniable. So that is moving eastward. So that will definitely be impacting the Waxahachie area. Had some hail in the Corsicana area, marble size. So that sounds about right with that storm that was severe warned. So that one, again, could be picking up steam once again after it weakened for a short time. That storm kind of just going, back and forth here. So this line, I mean, it's going to hit all of us. If you watch it on radar, It is going to impact our whole area. Looks like it's beginning to intensify once again from about Hillsboro southward there. So that line picking up steam in some areas, and then as that moves on eastward, beginning to move into Midlothian there. I didn't sleep much last night for a variety of reasons, and it is catching up to me. So Midlothian there, beginning to get that storm Maypearl area as well, moving into Waxahachie shortly too. And if we take a quick look at the winds here, that line, it doesn't really have, not damaging winds or anything, but there's some decent gusty winds along that line as that moves in. Gusty winds also in Corsicana, throughout Navarro County, where you can definitely see a lot of lightning with that storm as well. A lot of lightning in this line too. These storms are going to be loud. That's going to be probably the most noticeable feature about them, is they're going to be very, very noisy. So you will hear those moving through. But the good news is, again, that we're not looking at really a tornado threat in our area right now. Could be some small hail here and there, but not really too concerned about that at this point. So the first tornado warning of the day is well south of our area in Bell Falls, Milam, and Robertson counties. So again, those folks who may be wondering, if you're hearing about tornadoes, those are well south of our area. So just to kind of visualize that, way down here towards Cameron, that's where that tornado warning is. There's not really much of a tornado threat for our particular area. That's not part of the calculus for us. Catch up on chats here. And Tina, no. Once this line moves through, we may have some showers and thunderstorms behind it. We should be done for the day. I can't rule out a rogue storm or two this evening. Seems like models kind of go back and forth on arguing for that, but for the most part, it looks like we are done after this line moves through. And Brittany, you're headed home from Ennis to Alma, definitely ugly towards Corsicana. Yeah, you're seeing those stronger storms here. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning for about another 15 minutes here. Yeah, so hearing it's getting breezy in Red Oak. So you're getting those winds out ahead of this storm, ahead of this line rather. So let's see. I'm getting a message here that there's a flash flood warning issued, but we've already had that issued. So I think that's must be kind of a duplicate bulletin there. So just trying to keep up with the all the little updates here. So, you know, it's funny, I've got a couple of cats in here. Weathercat himself isn't in here. A couple of cats in here that are just snoozing away. They could not care less about what is going on. So they're not even paying attention to the... Yeah, I'm talking about you. They're not even paying attention right now. And storms are moving between 30 and 40 miles per hour right now. So that's kind of the speed of these storms as they're progressing. Taylor ate a lot, starting to get lighter in currents. It was darker. I mean, you'll have off and on storms in Navarro County until this line moves through. I mean, it's going to be off and on storms. Once that line moves through, though, that's going to pretty well take care of everything, push everything out. In terms of the heavy rain, there's still some rain behind it. Okay, there's still some showers and maybe some thunderstorms back here. So as we get into the afternoon hours, it may take a little longer than, you know, I would say if you want to talk about when is it going to be completely dry, probably closer to 3, 4, 5 o'clock. Now you remember last night we were talking about that's when we were probably going to see the highest chance of severe weather. This stuff moved in early enough. It's going to push all of this out by that time. So that's the good news. We are not right now looking at the severe weather risk being that great in our area at that point because this will have pushed all of that through. So by the time we get to peak heating, we'll be done. So that's the good news there. Via Erica, you're asking about Rockwall. If you check the map, Rockwall does have a storm moving through, so you are included in a severe thunderstorm warning at this time. So just kind of keep that in mind there. Gma from YouTube, cats not bothered by storms, but the Chihuahua goes crazy. That's been my experience as well. Cats don't really seem to care very much. It's the dogs that tend to get really nervous. Flash flood warning, new flash flood warning now for Navarro County. That goes until 2:15 p.m. So several flash flood warnings across our area. We've had off and on heavy rain for most of our area throughout the day. We are just over 6/10 of an inch here at the studio, and we have more coming as this line makes its way across I-35E here. Jamie, let's see, Kim asking, do I think by 12:45 the heavy rain will be past Ennis? Probably so. I mean, with the progression of this line, I would say by 12:45, 1 o'clock, we're probably getting most of that heavy rain out of the Ennis area. And just watching some of the kind of the water running down the street here, trying to see if we don't have any rain yet, at least not at this point. Yeah, it's just funny to me. The dog is real nervous. Of course, she's asleep now too. So I guess everybody's just chilling out here. Victor, rain, and so yeah, that's what we were saying. That's what I was saying just a second ago. Is that rain? If we're going to talk about all of the rain here, I would say we're probably getting rid of all the rain by 3-4 o'clock. Sometimes, the rain on the back sides of the storm systems likes to kind of hang around, likes to linger there. So I don't want to give you too firm a promise on that, but it does look to me like by 3-4 o'clock we'll probably be drying out of the rain there. So yeah, mid to late afternoon is what I would say. It may be earlier than that, but again, I usually try to put a little more time on that, a little bit more of a buffer, because I've seen it too many times when the rain on the backside of one of these systems just cannot seem to let go. So that, we have that happen out there on occasion. Let me kind of recenter that here. Katie, correct. That's what we've been saying, is that there's not really much of a tornado threat for Ellis County. Tornado threat is going to be well south of our area. So not concerned about that. I will tell you though, if we take a look at if we take a closer look at the radar here, where this line is coming through, we're definitely looking at parts of this line intensifying. So as this line gets closer to this new activity, we are now seeing that line beginning to kind of refresh itself. So this is where you start getting into more of the justification for that severe thunderstorm watch. Okay, yeah, so this line going to continue to pick up steam here as it moves through Ellis County, through Navarro County, and then eventually, like I say, behind it, the severe weather threat tapers off and goes from there. I see Jim Steele, you're asking about Waxahachie. I mean, you can see on the radar here very clear that line is moving in. So not much more to say other than, there is a line of strong storms moving through. These are not severe at this time, but lots of lightning and thunder. You've got plenty of heavy rain. Going to be some gusty winds as well. Could be some small hail in these storms. I don't see severe hail at this point, but could very well be some smaller hail as that line picks up steam. Let's take a look at the winds here. It looks to me like the winds could be picking up here. So we could be looking at winds increasing. Like I said, these storms are intensifying, so that's going to mean the winds will pick up, and so could the hail. Okay, yeah, so with the hail right now, we're still probably looking at some pretty decent, let's see, National Weather Service putting out a lot of updates here, so I'm trying to make sure I'm staying on top of all of that. So North of Corsicana, that's one area where we could be seeing hail. And then again, west of Waxahachie, west of Milford, could be some smaller hail involved in that line as well. At this point, though, it doesn't look like anything too terribly intense. So here is our line, here's our area. That's what we're watching right now in terms of what is moving through. This line will continue to move on to the east. These storms will continue on to the northeast. And all of this is progressing eastward. So once we get through that, Victor, yes, as was shown in this morning's forecast, we have a nice weekend on tap. But these storms moving through, as we look from Hillsborough up to Waxahachie to Dallas now, this line is going to be a noisy, heavy line, gusty line that will move through. And as it progresses here, eventually we're going to see it meet up with these storms, and all of that will create a renewed line that will continue on to the east here. And that ultimately will fill out the rest of that severe thunderstorm watch that goes into East Texas. Fortunately for our area, once you're behind that line, once you're behind this line here, your severe weather threat is done for the day. You got more rain back there, but the severe weather threat at least should be done with at that point. You got the winds picking up here at the studio, rain starting to fall as well. We'll be in the heat of that line here pretty shortly. And you can see that the colors are darkening here. We are seeing that red get a little darker here. That line starting to fill out. Those lightning strikes are really starting to come together there. So as it enters Waxahachie, this is going to be a fairly intense line of storms that will move through. But I want to reiterate here that nothing in this line is severe warned at this point. That may well change shortly here as the winds continue to pick up, as hail sizes likely begin to increase as well. But for the most part, we're not looking at severe weather along this line right now. This severe thunderstorm warning in Navarro County only has about 5 minutes left. So that will be expired soon as that continues to move on to the northeast towards Gun Barrel City, eventually towards probably between Kaufman and Canton there. But this line is the main feature. This is what we're primarily watching. This is kind of our weather maker for the rest of the day today. I imagine we've got some messages coming in, so let me try to jump on those as well. Yeah, so just getting, confirmation here. Loud thunder in Midlothian. Report of some hail in Maypearl for a short time. So that's pretty consistent. I mean, again, this is not a big hailstorm. This is not anywhere near what we saw on March 8th. Let me make that clear, at least not at this point. But the winds are picking up. We'll have to watch this storm as it continues to move on to the east. It's met up with I-35E at this point. So if you're listening to me while you're in the car, please do not stop under overpasses. I understand how tempting that can be when you're in the car and you want to get under something. Please do not park under an overpass if you're on the highway. So it's met up with I-35 here. Hey, if you have to pull over, then Jamie, I don't think the speed has changed that much. We're still looking probably at 30 to 40 miles per hour. But if you have to pull over on the road to kind of take a break, that's totally fine. Completely understandable there. So that is a completely. There's no shame in that, right? You're keeping yourself and others on the road safe. So just kind of keep that in mind. I know in Texas we all got to be big, tough, and proud and confident behind the wheel. But these storms are pretty dangerous at times. It's just been on and off downfall in, I'm assuming rainfall, in western Navarro County. Nothing severe yet. Yeah, that's pretty accurate with what we've been seeing. And that you can see that severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire there in Navarro County. So that is off the board here. So no severe weather warnings at this point, aside from the flash flood warnings. No severe thunderstorm warnings right now. The only tornado warning is well south of our area. At this point, it is any tornado threat is going to be well south of us. So not looking at much of a tornado threat here. Really, the primary threat at this moment is going to be for the flash flooding, because there's so much rain, especially for Navarro County at this point. You've had pretty consistent heavy rain there, and we still have this line moving in. So if there is a threat, if there is a concern here, I would say at this point it will need to be the threat of the flash flooding as all this heavy rain continues and we have more that is on the way. Yeah, very, very dark here at the studio, noticeably dark as that line is coming through. But if you are behind the line, so if you're in Western Hill County, in Johnson County right now, Tarrant County, you're behind this line, your severe weather threat is done for the day. You still have plenty of rain back there, but your severe weather threat at least is wrapped up. Andrew Walton, what do you think about the severe weather for the rest of the day? Like I said, that pretty well answered your question. But once you're behind this line, you're done with severe weather for the day. Again, I can't rule out a rogue storm or two this evening, but that looks pretty unlikely at this point. Shadow Gaming, you said your friend in San Antonio was heading to work while watching a rotating wall cloud. Well, that's that, again, well south of our area, so that would be consistent with where severe weather may be possible. I haven't, checked up on conditions in that area. Just on a call with a person, and the person I was speaking with could hear the thunder through the phone. Yeah, I mean, there's times where you can hear the thunder through my microphone. That's happened many times before. So that line has moved to the studio here, so we'll probably see those rain rates picking up pretty quickly. So here's this update, and so here's that line. Moved into Waxahachie now, moved into Italy to Forreston, overtaking I-35E here. So that storm will continue on to the east. Strong storm still in Navarro County, but the severe thunderstorm warning was allowed to expire. Somebody asking, can you cover the area between Kaufman and Canton? We don't have any weather coverage out here. I'd love to cover all the rural Texas areas, but the bigger I make my coverage area, the harder it is for me to have focused, consistent coverage, because eventually, there's going to get to a point where my coverage is just like those of the Dallas-Fort Worth media market, where they're trying to cover 36 counties, and nobody feels like they're getting attention at that point. So I have to keep my area small in order to keep up what has worked up to this point and what has made this brand so successful. So report of flooding in Corsicana. Of course, that's why we had that flash flood warning in place from the National Weather Service. Yeah, definitely very heavy rain and dark here in Waxahachie. That's where my studio is. So looking out the window, I mean, that is a very heavy storm indeed here. And let's take a quick look too. We can just take a step aside here. Let's take a quick look at the winds. I do see winds picking up, so there will be plenty of gusty winds in this storm as well as that continues to move on to the east. Could be some gusty winds northeast of Corsicana, west of Kearns as well with that storm too. Let's actually take a quick look, and not seeing any hail cores that really stick out to me. Near Corsicana, there could be some small hail there. Could be some small hail near Italy as well, but that's about all I'm expecting there. Not really seeing much more than that. Rich Blair, can you explain the fingers inflow by Italy and Waxahachie? If you're looking at these, it's real easy to see stuff like this and start thinking tornado, right? Because you watch enough weather coverage and you think any kind of notch like that. Really, all this is at this point is, I mean, I can put this in motion here. And really, this is just kind of little showers that are moving northward, meeting the line. So, not looking at inflow there. I mean, we just looked at velocity; you would have seen it there. But not looking at inflow there. Those are just little kind of showers that are just kind of moving northward along the leading edge of that line. So, not looking at any kind of rotation there. If it can be easy to kind of watch radar and start looking for it and think you found it because that's what you're looking for, but not really seeing that at this point. So, report of more flooding in the Corsicana area. Kim, you're asking, is it getting worse heading towards Dallas coming from Waxahachie? I wouldn't say worse. I mean, it's probably about the same as what we're seeing in this area. So, if you have the time to let this pass before you get on the road, probably best to do that at this point because there is a ton of very heavy rain with this, and this line does continue to intensify. There's also plenty of strong winds with this as well, and so that is going to necessitate being a little more patient with your travel there because we do have those flash flood warnings in place. Lots of rain falling in a short amount of time here. We're at 3/4 of an inch now here at the studio. We were at 6/10 just a few minutes ago. So plenty of heavy rain, and that can cause some concerns. Shalom, no tornado risk for this area. Margarita, tornado warning in Rosebud. How likely is it that storm is moving this way? It's not. I mean, you can see everything's moving kind of west to east here, so that storm is well south of our area, and that's not headed this direction. Lexington Drive in Waxahachie looks like it's flooding a bit. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be different places in Waxahachie. I mean, I'm looking at my street right now, and we've got plenty of flooding along, with that street. Fortunately, we have a creek that everything's running to, so that makes it easier for us to kind of dispose of that rain. Now, I say that is until the creek overflows. Then we have a problem. So that has happened a time or 12. So, we have to watch that, obviously, but as far as, the infrastructure here in this neighborhood, it's an older neighborhood, but we're fortunate that we're uphill from a creek and everything goes there. Yes, another report of the tornado warning in Rosebud. Again, that's well south of our area, not going to impact us. Adolph Solomon, what about 7 points? Well, I mean, you can see again, really all of Ellis County has this line moving through. So any part of Ellis County that doesn't have this line yet, it is headed your way. It is not severe at this point. Lots of heavy rain, lightning, thunder, could be some small hail, and some gusty winds with that as well. Pamela Predmore, lost the audio there in Glen Heights. Not sure what to advise there. I don't know if anybody else is having audio issues, but I see it working here. She may need to just restart the stream there. I'm not sure what that is. I know the microphone's working on this end, so unless there's somebody else having that problem, then it looks like it may just be on her phone or something like that. Whatever device she's watching this stream on could be having some issues. Okay, yeah, it looks like everything's fine, so it may just be kind of what she's looking at. So Gun Barrel City, yeah, so you're saying it looks like a hook. Well, the thing is, the direction of that hook, that's moving clockwise. For tornadic rotation, it has to be counterclockwise. Again, like I say, it's real easy to look at it and go, oh, hey, look, a hook. The thing is, not every hook-shaped echo is a hook echo. For that, you have to have rotation and those kind of things. So you just have to be cautious. There was the thunder. I was waiting for one. Let's see, audios from bad signal from weather. I mean, do cell phone signal? I don't think cell phone signal really works that way. Uh, I mean, I guess it could, but especially if you're on Wi-Fi, the weather really wouldn't affect it that much. And Tiffany said, Facebook said that I ended the stream for me when the storm started hitting. Had to switch to YouTube. Weird. Well, I mean, it's Facebook. It's any meta platform is generally going to be a bit of a dumpster fire, unfortunately. So that's why I do YouTube, is to provide a higher quality option for all those folks that are having trouble with Facebook. So definitely check out the YouTube stream. Because if you're on Facebook and you're having issues, then that's going to be a much better bet for you to look at. Now, I want to make sure that we are keeping an eye on the winds here, because those continue to intensify. That's not what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Yeah, so you can see the winds continue to intensify between Waxahachie and Palmer here. You can see we're starting to get a little bit of that yellow. So the winds are picking up in this area. Okay, just following the some of the severe weather updates here from the National Weather Service. But there you can see the winds are picking up. So you can see the red there. We're good. We're good. Okay, that looked like that was a really close strike, but I don't think it was. It was enough to flicker the lights a little bit, but I think we're good. So as this line moves in, I'm going to put this into motion for you so you can kind of see these winds. You can see that lighting up a little bit. You can see the change, and those winds will continue to intensify as this thing moves eastward and we start getting more, it starts picking up speed, starts picking up steam as it goes on. Let's get back to the reflectivity here, if it will allow me to. Okay. So, unfortunately, there's plenty of opportunities for lightning to take out the power here. So, should the power get cut off? Whoa, that was weird. Should the power get cut off here, the stream will continue. One light will continue. It may get a little dark and look a little weird here. But, we'll just shift gears. We have infrastructure to do that. And, we should be able to run the stream at least for a little bit. And then, if that changes, then we will take care of that at that point. Okay. Again, I'm getting a lot of kind of duplicate updates here on the phone. So just trying to make sure I'm understanding what's happening there. So we are now at over an inch of rain, getting close to 1.25 inches here at the studio. So I mean, the rain is adding up fairly quickly here at the studio. I mean, that's pretty fast in terms of those rain rates. And we are now seeing this storm closing in on the I-45 corridor. So you can see it's moving at a pretty decent clip here. That now it's already starting to move towards I-45. So this will continue on eastward, and this is just moving into the Frost and Blooming Grove area. That will continue to move on to the east in Navarro County there, and then obviously through Ellis County. And yeah, so I've got this thing. It keeps sending me duplicate updates on these severe weather updates. Quieting down in Midlothian. Yeah, so in Midlothian, you're on the back side of this. So once you are behind this line of storms, we're done for the day. I can't rule out an isolated storm or two this evening, but the models have kind of tried to keep that argument going, but for the most part, doesn't look like it. And then behind the main line here, you may still see some showers and thunderstorms, but the rain will end this afternoon. And after that, we're done, at least for today. Now, tomorrow, Low chance of an isolated thunderstorm. Looks like tomorrow's chances are almost kind of starting to subside a little bit. Maybe overnight into Thursday. Thursday and Friday, low chances of rain. And then we're done for the weekend, done at least for the first part of next week. Next week looks dry to me. So it actually looks like we're in pretty good shape there. Let's see. Pretty sure lightning just struck your internet satellite in Waxahachie, close to Boyce. Loud pop and internet stopped working. It's possible. Very possible there. Let's see. And Donna, yeah, lots of rain everywhere. That's a pretty good description of it, at this point. So we'll take another look at the winds here, because the winds and the very heavy rain are going to be the primary concerns here. Now, something I want to point out is that we're starting to get that little bit of a notch in the line. And that is one thing we have to watch for when you have these little gust fronts here. Any of those little notches, you have to pay attention to that, because you never know when that might be some kind of rotation trying to wrap up or something. At this point, I don't see that, but we'll keep an eye on that for sure, just near Ennis, just to make sure we're not looking at some kind of rotation trying to form there. You see two distinct bows there, one here and one here, and sometimes at the end of those there can be kind of a weak spot where that inflow can work its way in, and sometimes that can cause a brief little spin up. But at this moment, I'm not really seeing that right now, but we'll be watching that as we go forward through the rest of the morning. And as far as the winds in Navarro County, you can see that lighter green. Those are going to be gustier winds associated with those storms. But right now, the primary area of focus is going to be here. Paul Munoz, you're saying Palmer shows rotation. I'm not really sure what you're looking at that indicates that, but just looking at this, I'm not seeing rotation in the Palmer area. And Sam, like I've been saying, the storms will be out of here by, they'll clear the entire area by, 1, 2 o'clock? And then by that point, just some rain on the backside, and then we're done. So should be wrapping up with the rain by that point. By 3 or 4 o'clock, I think all the rain's out of here. I tend to be a little liberal with the end time there, because sometimes these showers like to hang around. But for the most part, we're going to be looking at everything pretty well moving out of here by the time we get into the late afternoon. So here's your line. That is what we're watching right now. And of course, in Navarro County, we still have a few of these storms ahead of that main line. And then that main progression, that main complex making its way through. Once that main complex has moved through your area, you're done with the severe weather to this point. So just kind of keep that in mind. Once that line passes through and you're done with all the heavy stuff, you're done there. The good news is that, again, it's moving at a decent clip, and you can see the dry air actually moving fairly quickly here from over in Bosque County to Hood and Somervell counties. So yeah, definitely looks like the dry air may be moving at a pretty decent clip here. We may get done with this stuff a little earlier than I thought. So, you can go out and enjoy the rest of your day there. So a question about what about Oak Valley, Corsicana? Are we going to get what's down south? So if you're looking at the tornado warning south of our area, that tornado risk is not going to translate northward into our area. Now, whether or not we have to watch this line for possible areas of rotation, we'll do that. But I'm not expecting that tornado warned storm well south of us to move northward. That's probably what you're asking about, but I'm not seeing that at this point. Yeah, so we'll take a quick look again at the winds. So we're just going to kind of toggle back and forth here. See, I want to get an update on that. Because for one, like I said, definitely increasing the wind speeds. I would say the highest wind speeds right now are in the Palmer area. And then another area of gusty winds moving right into Ennis. Karen Trejo, Not any major reports of hail at this point. We've had reports of small hail, pea-sized hail, that kind of thing, but I've not seen any reports of major damaging hail or anything like that at this time. So not terribly concerned about that right now. And Taylor, you said another wave, second wave just came through Maypearl. Yeah, there's going to be smaller showers and thunderstorms behind the line, but it's not going to be a major line like we've been looking at. So yeah, back in the Maypearl area, we just have some of these kind of trailing thunderstorms going through, showers and thunderstorms, that sort of thing. But this is not going to be as intense as this main line. So just keep that in mind, that you don't have to worry about severe weather at that point. Yeah, Maypearl's not looking at this. Is not going to be a replay of all of that. This is going to be it's just trailing showers and thunderstorms there. Chisholm Ranch, talking about Penelope down in Hill County. So you still have some storms yet to go in the Penelope area before that drier air comes in and pushes all of this out of there. Ferris is getting hit hard. Streets and yards are already flooding. Ferris is getting the brunt of that line right now. So strong winds, heavy rain in the Ferris area right now. Just as a reminder, there's no severe thunderstorm warnings at this time. The tornado threat at this point is going, it looks to say, south of our area. Looks like the Storm Prediction Center just updated their convective risk here. I don't know if that's the latest version. Looks like it might be. So, they continue to have that enhanced risk well south of us. So I'm not as concerned about tornadoes at this point. Kimberly Moses, surprised this storm isn't producing tornadoes. It is powerful. It is powerful indeed, but the strength of a storm doesn't necessarily determine whether it produces tornadoes or not. Tornado production takes the right atmosphere, it takes the right conditions. So you can have a very powerful storm that doesn't produce a tornado because it's not structured the right way, or it doesn't have the right environmental factors to make the storm do that. So a little bit of a different dynamic there. All right, let's see. So no severe thunderstorm warnings at this point. Haven't seen the National Weather Service issue any at this point. But yeah, the tornado threat continues to, at this point, stay south of us. We do have this little kind of a notch in the line here. I've been watching that. I haven't seen anything concerning with that yet. In fact, that's starting to kind of close there. So not really that concerned about that notch in the line. Eversole Farm saying needed to move through Ennis faster, have to go back in 30 minutes. Well, I mean, it's moving at a decent clip. So I would say by noon, the heaviest part of that line should be out of there. May still be some showers and thunderstorms. We also have all of this activity from Hill and McLennan counties that's going to kind of shift northeastward, but you can see that there's dry air behind it. Let's kind of zoom out a little bit, and you'll see kind of where things are moving. So here's our area, here's that main line, and then behind it, you can see everything's pretty dry back behind that line. So drier air is making its way in, but we just have to be patient while all of this is going. And a lot of people are talking about that tornado warning storm that is well south, north of Cameron. So it's between Marlin and Cameron right now, and not threatening our area. So not something to be concerned about. Yeah, just more reports of flooding there. Flooding, lots of thunder, lots of lightning and thunder. Yeah, that's definitely going to be the norm with this storm system. But I mean, Glen Rose clearing out right now, and they look like they're probably done at this point. Same thing for Meridian, Granbury, Weatherford too. And then ongoing there, that dry air will make its way in now. We have more heavy rain, unfortunately, that is coming in from the southwest. So parts of our area, that rain from Whitney down to Lacey Lakeview into Waco, parts of our area will have another round of heavier rain, but again, this is not as intense as this line is. The frequent lightning and thunder, all of the wind and those kind of things, not a big concern at this point with this line of storms. Those heavier storms that were in Navarro County beginning to move out into Henderson and Kaufman and Van Zandt counties there. So for our area, all we have left just about in terms of our intense weather, the stronger storms, is going to be this line that is making its way across I-45 right now. So as that continues to move on, when you're behind it, once this has moved through and you are clear of it, your severe weather risk for the day has tapered off. There's still some heavy rain to be had down in the southwest, so that will impact parts of our area, but that's not as intense as what we saw come in just several minutes ago. Yeah, not really seeing anything new here. So just as a recap here, we have a severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 4 o'clock, but keep in mind, as all of this activity moves out, they will shave that eastward, so we will be cleared out at that point from the severe weather risk. So that severe thunderstorm watch will be peeled back once all of this moves through our area, so that we will be removed from that watch early. There's also a flood watch that goes until 1 a.m. tomorrow morning. You may wonder, why do these flood watches take so long? Why are they there so much longer after the storm is gone? Well, that's because you have to account not just for the rain, but also the runoff. You have to see kind of where water settles, and sometimes you can have delayed flooding if a bunch of rain comes from somewhere else and runs into your area. So that is part of that process. We also have flash flood warnings, including parts of Navarro, Ellis, and Johnson counties at this point. And I believe those run until, what, 4 o'clock or so? See if I can go back and... an hour, so 2 hours and 19 minutes, so it kind of varies. So late afternoon, essentially, mid to late afternoon before those flash flood warnings are released. But again, they're running after the storms are gone for a little while to account for that runoff of all of that water, because sometimes it's going to be delayed before all of that water gets to your location. You're a flood-prone location, and then all of a sudden the flood starts once all that runoff makes it to you. So that's where we stand right now. Yes, Bravo, the cooler temperatures are keeping the tornado threat down. That's definitely a part of it. We're on the cooler side of the warm front. The warm front is farther south, and that is where we have all of those issues in terms of the severe weather threat. So specifically the tornado threat. So that's the kind of the saving grace here, is the warm front is farther south than what was possibly expected yesterday. So that has helped to keep the tornado threat in our particular area lower, because that warm air is farther south than expected. So as this prepares to leave Ellis County here, you can see that bow shape there. So there is that bow that will bring strong winds into parts of Kaufman County. And then we have just a few more showers here. You can see the dry air is making its way in, but we just have a few more showers and perhaps a few thunderstorms from there. And Christian, yes, the severe weather threat is over for Cedar Hill. You're behind that line, so you're clearing out now. A little more rain for today, but the severe weather threat has subsided for the Cedar Hill area. This line will continue to move eastward. That's getting ready to exit out of our area. Once it does, we will be wrapping things up very soon as all of this progresses eastward. Bo Collins, do we know where the warm front boundary is at the moment? I mean, it's well south of us. That's what I can tell you. I'm not exactly sure, but it's well south of our area in terms of the location of that warm front. So, but still some showers and thunderstorms to be had. We could see a few of these storms impact southern Navarro County here, but for the most part, the severe weather threat should be subsiding here. But I will continue to monitor this. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up live streaming so that I can get back to posting those periodic updates. I know I've heard a few of you say you really like those written updates because you can't always watch video. So we're going to wrap that up. Just keep in mind that flash flooding at this point is the primary concern, but your severe weather threat leaves after these initial storms move out. So stay tuned to South Metro Weather, and we will continue to keep